You know what I mean? I just it's already, let's put it this way, it's already implicated in the fact that he's been written down in history and we get to speak his name today. That he's a very uh, uh, amazing black man without having to say those words. It's already been implicated. He's in history. It's been written down. You know what I mean? So just what is ideologically what to me is the what is the point in pointing out somebody else's race aside from being able to recognize them as pioneers. um what is the point in doing it today, aside from segregation, as we already know that we do have successful people in this country of every color of the rainbow.
I think there is like a bit of historian, like for posterity type thing where, there are theories of like the original four races, and it's kind of showing like a paper, not a paper trail, but like a legacy, I guess, to round it out of where the cultural like milestones and trail markers are for. I'm picturing kind of like just like the coil of the DNA, that like as each advancement comes from each of the different, that it's almost like walking, that you can't step forward with the right foot over and over again. You have to like step right and left. That it's a kind of way of of assessing humanity as a whole moving forward. Or I mean, it's really just labelism, but
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's just labeling. But you know but like I said, historically, we already know the accomplishments of people of our, I have somebody who looks like me who's accomplished things. There's, you know what I mean? It's labeling. That's all it is. It's labeling. You know what I mean? And not to beat a dead horse, but I think I'm over it. I'm over it. Absolutely 100% over it. I don't. Is there never should there never be again an instance where we don't mention someone's race? Probably not. But when if I ever became famous for something, maybe hopefully something good, something positive, maybe it will be comedy. I don't want to be Latina comic.
right.
I don't want to be that. You know what I mean? Fat comic or whatever the label is. I don't want to be
Right.
any of those things. Why can't I just be funny? Why can't I just be good at my job?
Right.
Why can't I just be a woman that's not even that? I don't even want to be a woman. I just want to
Right.
be, like,
Tootie.
no pronouns. Just that's so funny. We it's so bad and embedded. We naturally do it ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
What's occurring to me now is that like in olden times, if there wasn't as much like travel and integration between different nations, like if you had a merchant from out of town, it was relevant to be like, oh, that's that Moorish, or that's that like Asiatic or American like merchant. So he has these types of wares because they have these types of resources and like natural, like things that like he'll probably have teas if he's from this place, or he'll probably have like ore if he's from this place, like, so maybe it was relevant in that sense that people were a reflection of the land that they came from, but we're so mixed and mingled now that like we're relevant of like more of our digital nation or stat, or like, we don't belong to the land anymore in a sense, and so our race doesn't make sense in that, because we do have so many different ethnicities that your nationality um isn't discussed or as relevant. Like it is relevant as far as like knowing who's American and who's like native to the land in that sense, because it determines our rights and our jurisdiction on the land. But yeah, as far as our ethnicity and heritage, it's only relevant, I guess, in how entitled we are to the culture, because there is that, that concern about appropriation too, where even as people are getting more into these like new agey natural things, that people will get mad that you're using herbs, that's appropriation, and in
yeah,
a
that's
sense it is, like for all these, you know people who aren't from this land, who didn't grow up with this culture, to suddenly be leading the movement and teaching of herbalism in the land. You know, there's a lot of disenfranchised people, I guess, from every ethnicity, every nationality, every land. And so we're kind of all just refugees and finding our place again.
Okay. Yeah, I can actually I could agree with that. But I also don't look at a I don't I don't think anybody does, but I don't look at somebody and I'm confused as to who they are, what they are. You know what I mean? I'm sure people, maybe not me and you, we're kind of like Vin Diesel. Nobody knows that I'm,
Yeah, we're
yeah,
the question.
yeah,
I've had plenty of time where people ask me like, "What are you?" Not like,
yeah,
"What's
same,
your
yeah.
ethnicity?" But
And I always think, I look at the earrings, you know, man. But no, I get Indian a lot. You know what I mean? So I get a lot of that, like, Middle Eastern, and yeah, so it's kind of weird. Um,
But
but
people ask you as if like, so they know how to relate to you.
right,
Like they
right.
want like
And by
that.
the way, yeah, never once have I ever been offended by anybody asking me, what are you? Like, not once. It's like, oh, cool. Like, I must have an interesting face. I don't know,
She's
but
exotic looking. She's a
Ugh, yeah.
mystery I must unravel.
You know what
Got
I
to
mean?
get to the
So
bottom of this.
I, and that's another thing. I don't think there's a problem with that. But in today's society, how dare you ask me what I am? Like, wait a minute. Wait, how are we going to communicate? Like, it's not even about that. It's just a better understanding. Same goes for the trans culture. How am I going to be able to understand you if I can't ask you questions about what's
Right.
going on?
Right.
Hello. You know what I mean? And I've talked to plenty because I was curious as hell. And thankfully I've ran into a transgender gent named Blake who was completely open. I was like, yeah, let's talk. Hours we would talk, hours, and I was able to gain an understanding. Now, if you're going to be a jerk about it, I don't want to know anything about you, regardless of your gender or race or sexuality or religion. If you're a jerk, I don't want anything to do with you. That's kind of how we should be. If we're going to isolate anyone and put anybody in exile, let's do it to the jerks, the real racists. Because right now what's happening is, because everybody's getting all mixed up in one, again, when it comes full circle, we're not going to be able to recognize who the bad people really are, because we're all getting labeled that. That scares me. I don't want my sons to be scared to open their mouths if somebody happens to be bullying them for whatever reason. But can you, it's happening to us as adults now. What's going to happen to our kids in the future if we don't put a stop to all of this ability to alienate people in an instant and in a snap, simple because of disagreements and or misunderstandings? And a lot of misunderstandings come from misinformation.
Right.
And the extensive amount of research that needs to be done in order for us to come back and let go of the divide and leave the segregation under lockdown and free our own selves. You know what I mean? That's the only way it's going to change. I don't see it happening within the next few months, but I do see it happening. I do see common sense coming about, because there's only going to be so much hypocrisy that we're going to be able to ignore. That there's only so much, and I personally see more and more people getting fed up with it. I also see more and more people being stubborn and running with it, knowing it's not going to be a good idea in the end. So, it's going to be what it's going to be. So sorry for Lizzo for having to go through what she did, and many others, celebrity wise and non-celebrity wise, who have to put up with abuse for simply, in this case, trying to better her own self, trying to make herself healthier. In other cases, just holding an opinion.
It's like an extreme form of gaslighting where, we have to have acceptance, but it's like such an extreme acceptance that you have to accept anything that's like put upon you. So like whatever form of abuse or, environment, like you're not allowed to choose the environments that you're in, the people that you want to associate. Right. Like, it's just like such an oppressed, extreme acceptance. And I think, like the transition is going to be people realizing that the world's not a pie. you know, that every person has their own connection and conduit to like abundance and their needs to build the life that they want. And everybody needs to stop asking for somebody else to give them permission to live your life the way you want. Not to say that it's not challenging, you know, if some, you know, like thank God, you know, I have all my limbs at this moment, but if somebody, you know, has an artificial limb or something and they have a different struggle than me, does that mean that I should cut off my limb so that way we're like evened out or something? Like, no, they're going to have a different journey. I have my struggles. If somebody is a diabetic, they have their own world and challenges and struggles that they're going to have to live in their life to be like on a even keel well. And does that mean, you know, that I change, or you know, that we outlaw sugar for everybody? That shouldn't be, because it's going to be more challenging for them. Like more people are dying from car crashes, you know, still than COVID. Did we outlaw driving? You know, so not to say all of this with as if we're unsympathetic to any of these like you know, deemed like out fringed groups, you know, from the SJWs, but just to like invite, no matter where you are, no whatever your plight is, to that's your own journey with your creator to figure out who your people are, what your resources are, what your community is, what is the environment that's going to allow you to flourish, like what's the garden that you need to be planted in, and then water yourself and just absorb the sunlight and like what's available to you there, rather than like trying to pick the petals off of every other flower to make sure that they match you, you know?
Right. There you go.
But yeah, thank you, Tootie, for all your research, all your wisdom, all your passion, and for, yeah, like your, you know, it's incredible. You know, we didn't get to touch on that you went to the Open Up Long Beach protest
Oh, that's
this
right.
past
Yeah.
weekend, and, you know, like just all your conversations that you've had with people. I love the way you're like, yeah, connecting and just giving us more to bring to the show and have this having these discussions with people, because that's where the real change, you know, is happening.
Right. That being said, I do have a wonderful video that I got from at the Recall Newsom rally that was done. I forgot her name, but she's a Czechoslovakian lady. She runs an organization called freedomtobreathe.com.
Mm.
And what they're doing is they're filling out affidavits, and they're actually sending subpoenas to Santa Ana courthouse to actually try to remove people constitutionally for what does she call it? What's the legalese? What's this? Perjury. What is it called? Purging.
Yeah.
You know. Dang it. Anyway, it's a good video. I'm gonna have it available for Off the Mark, so you guys can check it out pretty soon. I posted on my personal story, but I probably should have shared it to the show. Yeah, so that's our show. I swear on my life, I try to make it as fun as possible. I know I got a little bit passionate.
We promise.
Yeah, I know I threw up some words and I apologize, but you know what? At the same time, I'm doing this for you.
You're welcome.
Miss Kelly, I want to wish you a beautiful, happy, wonderful, healthy Christmas. Lot of things gonna happen. You know,
hopefully we see you if the solstice don't get us first. No, just
right?
kidding.
Exactly. Right. Where can we find you?
Oh yeah. So I'm at wild_flourish, where we discuss a lot of these topics. We got our cast at Off the Mark Cast, which is where you're probably watching us here, if not on YouTube. And Tootie, where can we find you?
I am at Tootie O My Hero on Instagram, on Twitter, and I think that's it. I always forget, but Tootie O My Hero, find me, I'm there. Also follow Off the Mark if you're not. Like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Leave comments.
We got parlors, but it's boring there now.
Let us know what you want to talk about. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know when you want links to articles, because we have those available right then and there. We're still working out the kinks. So I personally, I'm not very responsible and keeping up and posting them. I try to do it on Twitter, but again, I'm forgetful. We're going to do our best to keep things going, keep the show alive, but we are going to take probably a couple weeks off just you know, to get the holidays out of the way and you know, be able to spend some time with our family. And we hope you guys are able to do the same. I encourage you to do the same, is spend time with the people you love. Mm-hmm. If you still want to, you know, would rather not, I respect that decision as well. Just do your best. Zoom calls, whatever it is, FaceTime. Just make sure that you let somebody know that you love them, and make sure that you feel loved as well. So thank you guys. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. The Woiks. You guys have a good holiday.
Love you guys. Bye.